Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with the Mayor, virtual style. We are here on location in downtown Ocean Springs, bringing this to you live on Facebook. I'm Cynthia Sutton, Executive Director of the Ocean Springs Chamber of Commerce Main Street Tourism Bureau. Good morning and welcome for joining us. Before we get started, I'd like to start with prayer from Pastor Mike Barnett of First Baptist Church. Pastor?
Let's go, Lord, in prayer this morning. Well, Father, we're very grateful to be able to hear our mayor speak and to hear what's happening in our wonderful city. We thank you for one more day to live in this beautiful city. We thank you for this crew, Lord, that is able to bring us virtually to people's screens in their homes and offices and even in their vehicles. And I pray as the mayor speaks, Lord, that we would learn some of the good things that are taking place, that we'd be able to Lord, learn of some of the issues that we're facing and how we can solve them together. So we do pray for our mayor and our board of aldermen and our chamber, and we just pray that you would prosper them and help them to be successful in all their endeavors to make Ocean Springs a better place. We thank you for your Son who died for us and rose again, and it's in His name, the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor, for that morning welcome. Glad you guys are here. Before I turn it over and continue with the program, I'd like to tell you guys a few events and activities that are coming up here in Ocean Springs. You know, it is Mardi Gras season on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and we're doing some things differently. We have a cool Crew of Porches contest that we want you guys to vote online for. And we also have a king cake contest partnering with some of our local restaurants throughout Ocean Springs. You can find all that information on our Facebook event page, so make sure you go there this week and vote for your favorites. Also coming up on February 24th, right here on Facebook Live, we're going to have our annual meeting event. February 24th from 12 to 1 p.m. right here live. A cool thing is we're going to present to you guys some top award winners, those in the community that have done some amazing things in the 2020 year. So you're going to want to watch that. And we're doing something cool. If you watch that event on February 24th, you can actually enter to win a very cool Ocean Springs swag bag with fun gifts from our local businesses in Ocean Springs. So that's going to be really fun. And then, of course, watch our calendar, but we also have on March 27th and March 28th, the Spring Arts Festival in downtown Ocean Springs, getting ready for the warmer weather. So you're going to want to be a part of that event. Come out and enjoy. But watch our Facebook page and our chamber website at oceansprings.chamber.com to find out more information on our community events throughout town. Before I turn it over to the mayor, I want to say a special thank you to Chevron. They are the sponsor of today's event. We couldn't do it without them. So I'd like to turn it over to Chevron to say a few.
Good morning. I'm Tommy Suss. I'm a safety specialist at Chevron Pascagoula Refinery and a board member of the Ocean Springs Chamber. Chevron is proud to sponsor today's Breakfast with the Mayor. Even though this event looks and feels a little different than it would have a year ago, it is still a great opportunity to stay connected and hear firsthand about the great things that are going on in Ocean Springs. They say that necessity is the mother of all inventions, and the Chamber has worked really hard to be innovative and flexible to find new ways to support our local businesses in an environment that is constantly changing. This virtual breakfast is a good example of that. So on behalf of Chevron, thank you for the opportunity of being a part of today's event, and thanks to everyone for making time in your busy day to join us.
Thank you, Chevron, for those kind words and being a partner with us here in Ocean Springs and taking part in this event, Breakfast with the Mayor. Again, thank you, Chevron. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Shea Dobson. But don't forget, comment your questions as you watch along, and he will answer those at the end of the program. Without further ado, Mayor Shea Dobson.
Hello and good morning to everyone. Thank you, Cynthia, for that introduction and letting everybody know about what to expect here in the city of Ocean Springs. I want to thank Chevron for sponsoring this event today, and everybody here at the Mary C for putting this event together. Coming virtual is something that is kind of new to this event and new to a lot of the organizations and stuff around town. But I want to thank Gulf Coast Studios for providing really good service to our community, to the city, and to the chamber, so that we can do this kind of thing in this new world that we're living in. I have some projects that I want to discuss, give you some updates on. I'm going to talk about some important improvements going on around town in several wards, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. I found that I could talk about all my favorite projects all day long, but there's inherently going to be some things that is left out and some questions that everybody has that I want to make sure to get to. So first thing I want to discuss is the Steelman Lane project. This has been in the works for quite some time and is actually one of my favorite projects that we have been working on. So for those of you who are not aware of Steelman Lane is located behind Woody's, and it's calling it a road might be a little bit generous. Right now it kind of seems like a glorified driveway right now, but that is scheduled to be improved. There will be the proper drainage. There will be some sidewalks put there, and that will actually punch through to where the old Blockbuster was, where that dental clinic is right now. And that road actually, which we have referred to as Concrete Road over the years, we are actually renaming that to Clark Levi Drive. And that will, like I said, connect to Steelman Lane and just provide so much more development opportunity for all of those properties along the area. We believe that the east side of town is the direction that the city is growing, and this is a natural progression towards those goals and towards getting new development and new movement going on in that area. And so Steelman Lane is something we're very excited about, and it will be you will see some movement starting on that in the coming weeks. Also, I want to thank the county for helping us out with this. This is something, it was really just a partnership between the city and the county, and they have been wonderful in helping us out with some designs on that. So thank you to the county for everything you've done with Steelman Lane. Also, Ocean Springs Road, we are providing enhancements along Ocean Springs Road from Highway 90 to Culioca to address sidewalks, turning lanes, lighting, and other safety improvements. Again, this goes to the growth of the city towards that east end of town. And I don't need to tell anybody that lives in those subdivisions along Ocean Springs Road that sometimes it can make you a little nervous driving in and out of those subdivisions. And so I've been working with the Alderman John Gill and making sure that we get the proper improvements, that the design is correct. The county is helping us out with many of these designs and such as well. There will be designs eventually in the future, or improvements I should say, going all the way from Highway 90 on Ocean Springs Road all the way to 57. That's in the future, but right now the phase that we are working on is, like I said, from Highway 90 to Culioca, and so that's something that we're really excited to offer for the residents of those areas. We also have a East Beach sidewalk coming, and that will be attached to the water side of the existing seawall between Halstead Road and Holcomb Boulevard. that's something along East Beach Road. It's kind of a narrow road right now, and so the whole goal behind this project is to ensure that everybody just has the opportunity to get out of the road and walk safely. I think East Beach is a gem, and it's something that we need to preserve the character and identity of East Beach. We want to keep it kind of nestled and away from everybody, away from Front Beach, but also, understand that, again, the city is growing and we have to recognize the activity that is happening around there, and that pedestrians do love traveling and running down that beautiful road. And so providing them an opportunity to get on a sidewalk safely is something that we're really excited to put together. We have a wayfinding study. This will be to expand a study to expand and improve traffic patterns by providing better directions for visitors. It'll include parking, primary attractions, etc. This is a project that we feel is really important. Downtown area, sometimes people aren't sure exactly which way is which. The downtown area footprint is expanding. That's something that we've been working on ever since I've been in office, really. We want to make Porter Avenue the new, not necessarily a new gateway, but we want to encourage everybody coming from, down the Ocean Springs Biloxi Bridge to come down Porter Avenue, see all of those fantastic businesses along, on Porter Avenue, and, just expand the footprint. We're also, have efforts to expand the footprint of downtown on Government Street, closer, down this way towards the Mary C. and towards the Martin Luther King. And so both of these is very important towards, just creating a bigger downtown area, more robust. We have some projects in the works for extra parking. And so, a lot of our efforts with the wayfinding study will help inform a lot of these decisions. Again, we have another downtown traffic parking study. This is specific to the parking. So, as I mentioned, the signage and kind of the direction that everybody's going, that will be from the wayfinding study. But the parking study specifically will address everywhere we need parking. And I don't need to tell everybody who lives in this town, I know parking is at a premium in downtown Ocean Springs. And so hopefully with these two studies put together, our downtown will be much better planned out. It's going to grow, and that goes back to the growing of the city. We have to take into account that everybody loves Ocean Springs, and we have to accommodate all of our visitors and all of our residents coming to live in this beautiful city. Let's see. We have a pedestrian signal coming at Hanshaw and Cabildo on to help with the middle school traffic and pedestrians along that way. I know that we've had people reach out to Alderman Rob Blackman regarding that, and so he's really worked hard to ensure that has gotten off the ground, and so I want to thank Rob for that. We have a living shoreline coming for Front Beach. The goal of this project is to provide a natural, sustainable infrastructure that will protect the shoreline from erosional forces while enhancing the natural environment for flora and fauna. So this is a project that we have been working on for a while. Front Beach, the erosion on Front Beach has many different factors to it. It has the runoff, and then it also has the wave action. And so the county has really come on board to help us out with the water runoff portion. And so the living shoreline is aimed towards diluting some of that wave action and calming the wave action towards right there at the shoreline. So with both of these projects put together, that's something that we feel will definitely help the Front Beach and help the erosion and such moving forward. We also have our Porter Avenue intersection. So this project will elevate the intersection of Porter Avenue and the off-ramp from Highway 90. Advertisement for the engineering services will be published in early 2021. And that's something, so again, I mentioned the kind of the new gateway. I don't really like calling it the new gateway because I like to think of that as already a gateway into Ocean Springs, the Porter Avenue. But we want to enhance that gateway. And so whenever the city was planned and put together, that the traffic coming from Biloxi wasn't nearly as what it was now. And so we are working to make sure that intersection is can handle all of the new traffic coming in, can handle the new impact that we're trying to bring and trying to encourage coming down Porter Avenue. So that's something that, again, will tie into the traffic, to the wayfinding study and the parking study as well. So we have multiple moving parts going on right now. We have multiple studies and such going on for downtown, to improve downtown. And, I want to thank everybody involved for really helping put that together. Other than that, we have some important drainage projects throughout Parktown and Fort Bayou. Let's see, the project for Parktown will include a Shadowwood ditch and a retaining wall. Environmental data has been collected and submitted as a permit application to the Corps of Engineers. Fort Bayou will address, again, drainage throughout Fort Bayou Estates and sewer improvements connecting to the Fort Bayou area of Groveland Road. Real quick, I have some other notes right here on my phone I'm going to pull up. I want to thank Alderman Bobby Cox for really spearheading the Highway 57 Sports Complex. That's one thing we have been trying to increase, is the sports tourism throughout the city, and our sports complex at Highway 57 is a big part of that. And so what we have put together is the additions are about done, and it will provide approximately 135 additional parking spots. I know everybody, if you've had some events out at the sports complex, you know that parking, like downtown, is at a premium at the Highway 57 Sports Complex. And so I want to thank the county again for helping us out with Highway 57. They've really come, Randy Bosarge has helped us out a lot on that with the designs and materials and labor and such. And so, Highway 57, again, about approximately 135 extra parking spots to increase the amount of tournaments and really just for safety, because, being able to get closer to, where your loved ones are playing, and kind of minimizing the necessity of just extra walking, and the ambulances will be able to get back there a lot easier. And so this overall will just help with the attraction of Highway 57. And so we want to thank the county for coming to our rescue on that and helping us. Planning is, I mentioned this with the projects in Parktown and Fort Bayou. Much of these are KCDBG projects. I have problems saying that sometimes. And really, this is almost $1.1 million of drainage improvements for the Riley Road, Trentwood, and Parktown areas. So again, I want to reiterate, and I've said this before, that the health of the city, there's a lot of infrastructure needs and a lot of kind of stuff that it's down in the weeds that don't really get talked about in necessarily the news or big headlines, but are really important to a city. And so, that's something that we've really been prioritizing, is infrastructure needs and drainage needs. And I know Alderman Mike Impey has really helped out a lot with that. So I want to thank him for all his efforts towards that. Paving will begin very soon in all wards throughout the entire city. We have the county is helping us out again with that. So be on the lookout. There will be a lot of work happening. Streets will be paved. We have a list, a comprehensive list in my office. So if you want to find out if your road is on the list, please call my office and we can let you know. Specifically if the road you're looking for is on the list to be paved. Let's see. Another thing I want to mention is our reserve fund has, since I've taken office, we have increased it. And that's one of the things that I wanted to discuss here today, is that, last year was a crazy year. COVID-19 came out of nowhere, and there was a lot of uncertainty about what's going on through the economy, what was going on, with city services, with governmental services in general, whether it be at the county level or state or federal, what have you. And so making sure that we have a robust reserve fund was in, a rainy day fund, if you will, was in all of our best interest. And so early on in my administration, the board and I decided to prioritize, putting back some money for the reserve fund. And I want to thank the Board of Aldermen for, really sharing my vision and building up that rainy day fund, because, you can't just keep counting on, whether it be the federal government, the state government, the county government for bailing you out, even though, again, the county has come to our help in many, many ways. Ultimately, you have to make sure that you can stand on your own 2 feet and that our reserve fund is, as deep as possible. And so we have put back, and now we have over, I believe, $1.1 million in the reserve fund. Before I took office, it was under about $900,000. So we want to put more in there, and so I encourage the next administration and the next Board of Aldermen to prioritize that reserve fund. Also, kind of piggybacking off of the COVID-19 talk, I know a lot of us are tired of hearing about that, and I'm not going to go into too many details about COVID-19, but there are two aspects of it that I want to discuss. Our cybersecurity improvements that we put together early on was something that helped us weather the storm of COVID-19. I remember early on in the weeks leading up to when the guidelines and lockdowns and such eventually happened, I remember meeting with our department heads and meeting with AGJ, our IT company, meeting with the chamber and other organizations to figure out this storm looks like it's coming, and so how can we weather it? What do we need to do? And so with all of the upgrades that we had made, the increased cybersecurity, the improved services regarding Zoom and streaming for the Board of Aldermen meetings and such, we were able to seamlessly kind of steer into COVID-19. We were able to put together meetings where we could have virtually, such as we're having here. We're able to ensure that because there was less face-to-face contact, we're able to ensure that all of our correspondence happening digitally and virtually were secure, that were protected as much as possible in regards to hackers and other cybersecurity threats. And so I want to encourage the next administration and the next board again to maintain that cybersecurity and make sure that that's something that we're always prioritizing. It's 2021 and the threat of cybersecurity is probably at its all-time high, and so making sure that we protect our residents' data, making sure that we protect our residents' money is and taxpayer dollars is something that is really what we're here for, and so cybersecurity is playing an increased role in that. So I want to thank AGJ and the Board of Aldermen and all the staff really at City Hall and throughout the city for sharing my vision and helping put together these upgrades and putting them into practice. Last thing regarding COVID-19, our sales taxes are up. They have been rising every single year. And honestly, when COVID-19 hit, we were kind of nervous because, again, with all the uncertainty, we didn't know what would happen. But I want to thank the community for really going out of their way and really prioritizing the small businesses in Ocean Springs, the entrepreneurs. That's exactly what makes Ocean Springs Ocean Springs. Our downtown businesses, everybody on Highway 90, out on the east side, everywhere and in between throughout Ocean Springs, you see small businesses really being the lifeblood of Ocean Springs. When people come to Ocean Springs, they love the quaint downtown area. They love all the nice stuff they can get throughout town, and it's all because of small businesses. And so that's one thing that I really, really am honored and impressed about with our community for really stepping up and during the COVID-19, prioritizing small businesses, going and ordering takeout, ordering curbside, and just doing what they can to support these business owners. The service industry, we have a lot of service industry in this town, and the service industry is very, very unpredictable as it is in a normal atmosphere. But once you add COVID-19, that unpredictability becomes so much more. And so, whenever you're out, please, tip your server. Be sure to recognize that, with all the uncertainty, we need to make sure that everybody in the service industry, is taken care of and can put food on their table. So with that, I want to open it up. I believe Cynthia has some comments or some questions we can go ahead and discuss. So Cynthia, what you got?
Hey there. Yes, we have a couple of pre-sent in questions along with some of the comments. One of the first questions that we have is, can you just give us an update on the next mayoral election details, the timeline, the dates?
So the municipal elections, the primary is in April, and that's where really the next mayor will be decided, and several alderman races will be decided in that primary. It looks like it's primarily Republicans running, and so for many races, it will be decided in the Republican primary. That primary will be in April. I don't have the exact date right here in my head, but sometime in April, be sure to look that up. Call the city clerk or look on our website. And I'm ashamed of myself for I don't know the exact date of the primary, but I do know it's in April. Visit our city website and you'll be able to get the exact date on that. Other than that, the general election for the other races that aren't decided in April will be in June, and so in early June, and so. Definitely inform yourself about all the candidates. It's a crowded field, whether it be at the mayoral level or through the alderman races, and so definitely ask these individuals questions about their vision for the city and what their priorities and what it is they're going to focus on as an elected official. I encourage everybody to really do their due diligence and look into all of the candidates.
Awesome. Another question that we have here is, during your term, you talked a lot about economic development growth on the east side, and I know you mentioned a little bit of that today, but somebody asked if you could give an update a little bit more on that, what you see or what you want for the east side of Ocean Springs.
Right, so we actually do have a new grocery store being planned for the east side, and so we're really excited about that. There are some other improvements in the works or discussion about on the east side of town, and really I think my vision and most of the individuals within the city and the board of aldermen as well is to just kind of steer into that growth and development. Again, Steelman Lane is probably one of the best examples I can provide of steering into and recognizing where the growth is and creating that infrastructure. I think what you have to do is recognize where the growth is and be proactive. Put in and the city, to their credit, way before me, had done a lot of work in anticipation regarding water and sewer lines out on the east end of town in preparation for the growth. And so that's what we wanted to do, is just continue that and build off of that and really get a lot of momentum. But yeah, you just have to, again, you have to anticipate where the growth is. You have to put in the correct infrastructure. We're approved for a TIF program, which will definitely help out. If larger developments come and need some creative ways to structure their taxes and such, that TIF program I feel will be very important in the future. We really haven't had an opportunity to utilize it just yet. It's still fairly new, but my hope and what I predict is that TIF will be used in the future for hopefully a really good development on the east end of town. The problem also with the east end of town is that there is a lot of wetlands out that way towards Gaucher once you're heading towards Gaucher, and so mitigating that does provide a lot of challenges. The Army Corps of Engineers has to go through a process, has to do their due diligence, and so sometimes mitigating and developing the east end of town does take a little bit more time, takes a little bit more paperwork and jumping through hoops, if you will. But it is something that is doable, and a lot of developers have done a really good job at doing that. And so we want to thank them for everybody's hard work and everybody's vision for the east end of town. But I do know that there are some. Again, there's a grocery store being planned towards the east end, and there's some other residential developments being planned for the east side, and so the east end of town is definitely where the growth and the future of a lot of things Ocean Springs is happening.
Sounds like you guys have done a lot of planning to help make that possible in the coming years.
Yeah.
Another question we have here is, 2020 was an interesting year due to COVID. Can you tell us what were some of the hardest moments that you had in 2020 related to COVID?
Man, how much time you got? So I think the thing about all of 2020 and everything COVID related, it's been a crazy time to be an elected official. There's kind of two extremes when it comes to the lockdowns and guidelines. At least where everybody's thinking is, and so per usual, I feel that a lot of things are best in the middle. We have to ensure that we're being safe, that we're wearing our mask when necessary, that we are, recognizing our and being good neighbors and trying to be as healthy as possible, but also recognizing that, again, we have to keep our economy going. We have to let people put food on the table. Having people not being able to work doesn't help anybody. I don't know what's going to go on with the federal government, whether we're getting stimulus or not, or anything like that. But what I do know is that what we control here in Ocean Springs and what we can control locally, and again, that goes to the residents, really prioritizing the entrepreneurs and our mentality of letting people work, but while being safe. And so. As far as just specifics on that, on what the challenging portions of it was just kind of navigating and trying to find that sweet spot. Do we go too heavy on the lockdowns and the shutdowns, or do we just completely open up and not do anything? But but even not only COVID, 2020 was an election year. It was very tense, throughout the nation. Thankfully, we didn't, really have anything of note, or too much newsworthy here in Ocean Springs or along the coast, and so that I'm very thankful for that. But just a lot of the unknowns and kind of the unprecedented challenges. We had hurricanes. It seemed like it was just something every day. There was something new, but. It's kind of hard to pinpoint one, but just really trying to respond to the uncertainty in general, responding and trying to manage all of the unprecedented things that were going on was really the hardest part. But I will say that I'm a big believer in keeping a good, close, tight-knit group of people around you who understand your values and understand your morals, and so that's something that I tried to do, whether it be aldermen or people within the city or the chamber, and making sure that I bounce ideas and such off of them, and I'm not just barreling through and doing things unilaterally. I'm getting the most advice from everybody. So I feel like we had a good team, and we had a lot of people really looking out for for their city.
I'll ask one more on the COVID, and that's it. How has the city helped our local business community sustain and survive during this uncertain year?
Well, again, I think a lot of that goes to just communication and informing them about, and a lot of that comes through the chamber. So I want to thank you and everybody at the chamber for, helping out with that. But it comes with just communication. If people don't know what's going on, getting that information out, making sure that we have the police department, is able to respond to everything all the questions they have, making and also, again, not having too much of a heavy hand, because with all the unprecedented stuff, with all the, especially all the guidelines, they were changing weekly almost, and I want to thank our attorney Nicole. She did an amazing job at really trying to, again, it seemed like every week there was something new coming down, and she would have to go through and interpret it and such, and so it was really even confusing to us, and all the other cities, and all the cities around Jackson County throughout the coast would call each other, and we would do again, we would have mayoral meetings through Zoom, myself and all the other mayors along the coast, to share best practices and share, okay, this executive order says this, so how do you interpret that? How are you going about enforcing this and that? But yeah, just getting that communication out, making sure that our police officers are informed about what's going on, and giving people a second chance, not stamping down too hard on them if they happen to do something outside the guidelines this week, but it may have been fine the week before, and so yeah, that's something that communication really played a big part of that.
You mentioned in your answer just there about how you met with the different mayors on the coast. Someone asked that how do you partner with other cities? How have you partnered with other cities in recent years? So it sounds like you answered a little bit of that. If you want anything else to add.
Yeah, so that was a big part, and I want to thank all of the other mayors along the coast. I think Mayor Billy Hughes of Gulfport, really helped spearhead that. And at first we were having it twice a week, actually. I believe we were having it on Tuesday and Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And then eventually it went down as the restrictions started, at least becoming more consistent. We would have them, once a week. But no, I'm a big believer in the One Coast, and I have always, whether it be an event, a nonprofit event, or something going on with coastal Mississippi, or any other entity in another county, I've always tried to promote that, to market that, to show up to those events. And I think that's we live in a very unique region and a unique area. As much as I love Ocean Springs, and everybody should be proud of their individual city, our cities are very connected, and so visitors sometimes they don't understand whether they're in Biloxi or Gulfport or Jackson County or Ocean Springs or what have you, and so working to create that, just in general, that good mentality of coastal Mississippi, and also showing what your city is great at. Goes a long way. I think Coastal Mississippi, again, that's a great organization. They do a good job at kind of highlighting what everybody is good at. And again, they'll talk about Ocean Springs having the robust nightlife and all the restaurants and arts and entertainment and such, and they'll talk about the gaming over in Harrison County and the wonderful city of Bay St. Louis and such. And so everybody just working together. And I know Billy Hughes and other mayors have shouted out Ocean Springs and other, seeing just other things in general, whether it be at a radio spot on the radio or something like that. And I'll try to do the same with them. So just generally being all in on the same mission and recognizing this is one coast. And when Harrison County and Hancock County and Biloxi and Gulfport and succeed, we succeed and do better, and vice versa. So I think that's really my mentality on that.
Wonderful. Another question is, with the spring approaching, what plans are there to maintain and update our green spaces?
So actually, it's funny because just yesterday we recently have been approved as a member of Keep America Beautiful, and just yesterday we had a little event I think it was in Hancock County, that we sent two of our employees over there, Amanda from Planning Department and Summer from the Beautification Department of Public Works. And so they were giving us some advice and talking to us about some flowers and such that they're going to be giving to the city and how to maintain that. And so that's something that I want to thank Keep America Beautiful for really helping us out with and helping us prioritize. But yeah, so we have added another, as I mentioned, Summer in the Beautification Department, we have added another employee to that department. She's doing a very good job at increasing the beautification around the city. One thing that I think that is important is recognizing that beautification does come with maintenance, and so putting together stuff that is beautiful, but at the same time is doesn't have as much of a maintenance impact as maybe some other things as well. Not that we're going to forgo beauty, but at the same time, trying to strike that balance of beauty and maintenance as well, because our Public Works has other infrastructure needs and other things throughout the department, and so yeah, that's something with Keep America Beautiful, with all of our the Chamber does a really good job at helping the Beautification Department of Public Works staying informed and providing some volunteer hours and such as well. And so really just that teamwork and understanding priorities is how we do it.
I like that you said that, striking that balance of adding the beautification but finding new creative ways to maintain that. So that's really cool. Another question that we have here is, what's the latest on the Highway 90 road widening? Will that ever happen?
It will happen eventually and someday. It'll be after I'm out of office, but it will happen. So MDOT does have the plans to widen Highway 90. It will come with a lot of there's going to have to be a lot of right-of-way acquisition, and so frankly, the budget is just not there. And I know a lot of people also talk about, well, you also need to sync the lights, the red lights, and improve the red lights. Part of the plan to widen the highway will include the upgrade in technology regarding the red lights. So I wish I could give everybody a timeline on that. I'd be lying if I did give you a timeline on that. But I know it is, the plans are there. It's just waiting for funds to be allocated towards that in the MDOT budget. So I wish I had a better answer than that, but that is unfortunately outside of our control.
Okay, another question is, will Washington Avenue south of the railroad be repaved?
Washington Avenue south of the railroad be repaved. I'd have to double check. I honestly can't answer that right now because I'd have to look at my paving list. I'd have to see if it's on the paving list, but I don't necessarily remember that being on the paving list. But I'm sorry, you'd have to call my office, just call Megan at my office and ask about that, or maybe I could. I'll find out when I get to the office and post it in the comments. How about that?
Perfect. Another question is, any updates on downtown parking? What can be done?
Well, yeah, I mentioned that a little bit in my talk about the studies that we have going on to increase the parking in downtown. There also is, the parking garage is still in the works for the downtown area. That is being funded by BP funds through the state. And so they are in session now. There hasn't been anything awarded. They're still early in the session, but we do expect, some kind of hopefully some kind of funds to be allocated towards that project from the legislature. But other than that than the parking garage, again, I talked about just in general, the studies that we have, and whether it be to add parking spots or to actually another part of our issue, I should say, is just people understanding where the current parking is. I've talked to people who have lived in this town for as long as I have, and they will say, well, there's no parking downtown. I was like, what did you know about, the Keys parking lot, or you can park at Freedom Field, or the Fallows Pleasant parking lot, or whatever it is. And so, I didn't think about that, or I just, just kind of wasn't in my mind. And so those studies will help, and the wayfinding study will help everybody kind of navigate downtown area. So it's both. It's adding parking where it is needed, because I know it is needed, but it's also letting everybody know where our current parking is.
Nice. So some new signage, I'm assuming.
That's right.
To kind of show that. This is the last question that we have for the day. Keep posting your questions and we'll try to answer those throughout the day. But here's the last question. Tell us a little bit about the fire safety facility. You've talked a lot about improvements for the police and the fire department, but when might that happen?
So the fire training facility is scheduled to begin in the coming weeks. Actually about a month or two, I believe, is when it's actually started. But that is actually one of the biggest things I've been excited about, is that fire training facility. Obviously, the most important part of that is just the training and experience that our firefighters will get by being able to train in that facility. And not only our firefighters, our police officers will be able to go in there and do different training exercises in that facility as well. And I want to thank Chief McCoy for really doing a good job at all his due diligence and finding the right company and the right design and such to make that happen. But not only will it help with the again, the experience and the training, it will help on our insurance premium. So you will see a reduction in your insurance premium for residential and the commercial side. Now, the bulk of it, the biggest savings will be on the commercial side. So we feel that not only is this really good for our public safety, but it's also an economic development tool. our fire rating will be improved. And so with these savings in the